Hello everyone, welcome back to another lesson. Today we will be covering some social studies topics. Now you may have already learned about this topic a little bit before, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper. So today we will be learning about the Native Americans of the Southwest. Now, some of you might be wondering why it's important to learn about Native Americans. Well, learning about Native Americans offers a new perspective and allows us to learn about the history and cultures that are present in America. So let's dive a little bit deeper into the history. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lesson on the Native Americans of the Southwest. Today we will be discussing the Pueblo and the Navajo. Let's get started. In terms of food, the Pueblo hunted small desert animals and ate small desert plants. Examples of this can include rabbits, snakes, berries, and prickly pears. Now, it's important to note that the Pueblo also practiced agriculture, specifically known as dry farming. And for this, they built dams and canals for their crops. Now, in terms of housing, they had ladders to enter and exit their dwellings, and the first floor of their homes had no doors or windows. In terms of culture, they believed in spirits known as kachinas. And they believe that the kachinas help bring rain to grow crops. They also hold ceremonies for the kachinas, and there were kachina dances which involved decorative costumes and jewelry to represent spirits. And during these ceremonies, they give out these kachina dolls like the one you see over here, to teach children about the kachinas and pass their culture along through stories. Now, the Pueblo were well known for their turquoise and silver jewelry, and they also wove cotton for clothing. Now, we are going to jump over to the Navajo. Now, this group migrated a lot and finally ended up in northern New Mexico. So in terms of food, they also did dry farming like the Pueblo. And for their houses, they lived in these dome-shaped homes called hogans. And they were made out of logs/sticks. And there was a hole right in the roof to release smoke. And here's a picture of what that would look like. Now, the Navajo were also very rich in culture. They believed in hozo, which translates to walking in beauty, and they believed that living in balance and harmony. Now, their culture was shared orally through generations through stories and songs. Again, you can see similar connections between the Pueblo and the Navajo in terms of how they passed their culture on and how their food practices were similar. And again, just like the Pueblo, the Navajo also wove cotton for clothing, and they were known for their turquoise and silver jewelry. Just like the Pueblo, and the Navajo practiced the same. Now that is it for today's video on the Native Americans of the Southwest. We're going to do a quick compare and contrast to really highlight the similarities and differences between these two groups. Okay, let's quickly summarize what we learned in today's video. We talked about two different tribes, the Pueblo and the Navajo. Let's talk about some key facts for each one. Now, there were some similarities, so both the Pueblo and the Navajo, we'll go ahead and highlight it, practiced dry farming, which was a form of agriculture, and both of them were well known for their turquoise jewelry, and they also used cotton for clothing. Both of them did. And now we'll talk a little bit more about the intricacies between each tribe. So the Navajo were largely migratory, which means that they essentially moved a lot. And they lived in houses called hogans with a hole in the roof so that the smoke can be released. And they also passed on knowledge and instructions and all sorts of information through the art of storytelling, which is very important to them culturally. Now, looking back at the Pueblo, they were very attached and interested to spirits called kachinas, and they believed that these kachinas would bring rain to help the crops grow, to have a fulfilling growing season. And they would hold ceremonies and would give out kachina dolls to little kids or even just audience members to teach the children about the ceremony as well as about the kachinas. And that's a wrap on today's video. See you next time.